What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Frank Unsolicited Advice. It's been a minute since I got on this mic to talk to you guys and give you some advice. Um, and the reason for that has been so much stuff going on and adjustments and me getting adjusted to a certain lifestyle now that things have changed that I didn't want to bore you guys with the same kind of topic or idea or message over and over again because I wanted to give you something different. I wanted to give you something unique every time, or at least a progression of a topic. We talk about one thing, then the next week is another that relates to it, but a different situation. But something has been on my heart very, very, very much so lately, and it goes with the business that I decided to do when I got out the Navy, retired, which is financial strategist, financial industry. For those that don't know, I got out the Navy before I got out in 2020. I became licensed in life insurance and annuities and health. And I started doing that because one of my young sailors that worked for me on the bush at one point called me up, asked me to be part of her training call. And I heard some information I thought was wonderful. And I wanted to talk to other people about it because I never heard it. I never received it. I never was told it. I know my parents weren't told. So, when I heard it, I said, man, this is dope. This is something that I can communicate with my community with and help out my peoples, and not only my peoples, but the sailors that work for me and everything. So I got licensed and I wanted to do it as a transitional thing. So when I retired, I didn't want to go work and punch the clock somewhere else. I wanted to basically work for myself, work from home, have the freedom to travel, do what I wanted to do. And no matter where I'm at, I can do what I have to do. And I've been able to do that. Last month was a little trying month for me with the passing of my uncle and at the beginning of the month, then going to Puerto Rico for the funeral, coming home, then leaving to California for the convention, and then from California going to Mexico for Nikki's birthday, then coming back, and it's just been nonstop going. But the blessing is that being retired with a pension and disability, and now having this business, I can do it from anywhere. But one thing that's been on my mind is that in this business, you're only successful with the people you do business with. And sometimes we want to bring our people with us. We want to bring our people with us everywhere we go, right? Because if at the end of the day, if you're not selfish, you're selfless, and you want everybody to win with you. And when you come up from something and you come through struggles together, you try to bring everybody you can with you to be successful. Uh, and with this business, I've tried that. I've tried to reach out to friends and families, stuff like that. And I was having a conversation with a business partner of mine and my wife as well, and other people. And then the one thing that comes into mind is your communities, right? And institutionalization. So I looked at the definition on Google for institutionalized, and it says established in practice or custom, established as part of an official organization. So I want to stick to the practice or custom. Us in the military, if we don't take the time to go get educated, we normally just go off what our friends tell us or supervisors, advisors, or whoever the military brings in from their connections with certain partnerships and other industries to come and talk to us and teach us. Um, what they want to teach us, what they want to pass on. But if we don't get that and we don't get educated, we go what we're being told, right? So, for example, when you join, everybody gets the SGLI, which is the service group life insurance. People don't bother to look at anything else. We just think everything's fine. Now TSP is something that they automatically put in 1% at least, and they match up to five, where before it's something you have to do on your own. And of course, Navy Federal and certain different companies that we work with that are military friendly. That's who we go to for the advice, and we don't seek it at other places. We don't. I'm not gonna say all of us, but some of us don't read books, don't read don't do research. We're like stuck in this mindset of this is all we have, this is all we know, this is all we do, this is all we're gonna be, and that doesn't allow for growth. That doesn't allow for you to be in a better spot. That doesn't allow for you to better yourself and do better things, right? And I say that because I'm in a situation where I was institutionalized for a very long time. I had blinders, like I just looked straight ahead. If it wasn't something that somebody told me that I trusted, I wouldn't look into it. And it just, it limited me. It limited me. And for so long, even when my wife would try to um, make me see things else and do other things and look out, I would just wouldn't. And if it wasn't for my sailor Lacey, who called me to get this information, I probably would never even known about this stuff. And now that I know about it and I've been licensed and been helping families, I start realizing how much I don't know, I didn't know. And I'm lost in some stuff, right? That I can't take advantage of because of my mindset, because of practice and customs. And sometimes customs can be great. You know, they can be good things. They can be positive. They can be awesome to keep us grounded in a situation where we're sticking to what we know, what we were taught, and keep it going. But that also could be bad for us. And the reason I say it could be bad for us because sometimes we get stuck in these practices and these customs and we don't break the chains. We don't break out of it. We stay in it. And you know, next thing you know, it's like, well, my mom, my dad did it this way, or my boss did it this way, or my aunts did it this way, or my uncle did it this way, or my friend taught me this. And we never break it to see if there's something else that could be better for us. And what we do is we hinder each other a little bit, right? We stop ourselves from being successful. We stop ourselves from trying something, from looking outside the box, from taking the blinders off and opening your horizons and make an educated guess or educated yeah, an educated decision on what is next to do for you, what is best to do for you, what you should be doing and stuff like that. And I feel like um for a lot of us, that's the situation, is that we're so accustomed to one thing. We're so accustomed to it being one way. We don't bother to look somewhere else. And when somebody tries to come to us with some advice or something, we think it's a scam. We think that they're trying to they're trying to take us for our money, or it can be real, because if that's the case, why isn't everybody doing it, or why doesn't everybody know about it, and why is it that when it comes to our growth in our communities, we sometimes tend to question our own, and when we're being talked to by them, or we try to negotiate certain things. For example, um you go to a small business that's owned, a black owned business, a Hispanic owned business, there's a small business of people trying to come up, and you're trying to go buy a certain product, and they tell you the product is this much money. You try to negotiate with them. Oh, nah, man, I'm not gonna pay $30 for that shirt. That's crazy. Blah blah blah. But then you go to a name brand store that's a great company that's millions of dollars, is a franchise that doesn't need, and you don't barter with them. You don't argue. You don't say, hey, can I get that $1,000 shirt for, or that, $200 shirt for $30? No, you buy the shirt and then you wear it and floss it, like as a show of I got it because you wore it. Instead, when you go to your own people's store, when you go to local businesses, you try to negotiate, or you try to uh, um, barter and talk them down. When at the end of the day, that small business, a lot of the stuff they do is on them. They don't have the mass production. They don't have the support or the system in place like a franchise company or multi-million-dollar company or billion-dollar franchise has to make the product. These people are probably doing it themselves, trying to mass produce something with limited resources. So if they're charging $30, it's because they're probably trying to get what they spent and a little bit more in off profit, right? But we don't do that. We negotiate. We talk crap. We go elsewhere, but we don't have a problem spending that money in name brand stores. It's a mindset, customs, and practices, right? Um, when you come up with nothing and you come from nothing, you think, oh well, when I make it, I got to go buy the most expensive car. I got to have the jewelry. I got to buy the clothes. I got to buy, you know, um, um, different things, outlandish things. But then when you talk to them about, hey, you might want to save money in this, or what about if you save $300 a month? And they say, oh well, I can't save $300 a month. But then you see them on social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. They showing off their new Jordans that they just bought off a bid, um, um, or for raffle, or they bid for them and they paid twice as much, if not more, than what they were going to buy in the store because they had to have them. And the sneak comes out every year, but they do it. And then when you talk to them about, hey, you might want to save money and start putting money away for your future. And if you start now, you can have X amount of dollars by the time you get to a certain age. Or what about changing the your children's life? Your parents didn't do it for you, but you could do it for your children. And you're met with adversity. They're institutionalized. That's a mindset. That's a mindset that we have. And instead of changing it, we stay with it. Right. And it frustrates me, right? And the reason it frustrates me is because I get tired of hearing my own people say, "Oh man, it sucks to be poor," or we got to change it. Generational wealth or generational curses got to be broken, and we got to do better as a people. And then when you provide them the the formula. You provide them a strategy. You provide them a lane, a path, knowledge. Hey, read this book. It's 68 pages. It's gonna bring you some kind of knowledge. At least you know better now. They don't do it. They don't do it. And then they wonder why they never get anywhere or they don't pass anything. It's the same thing with us in the military too. We become very institutionalized. We become one track minded. We become stuck on one way. And unless we decide to have, if we don't have ambitions for more or decide to look around for more, we stay in the same spot. I see a lot of people. Hey, they retire, they go and get a job in the government, doing the same thing they was doing. Where's the ambition to do something different? Where's the drive to do something different? The drive to change certain things. You can't. I've had people when I talk to them about insurance, especially life insurance. And me being honest, I had heart surgery in 2003, so I don't qualify. They won't insure me. I'm asked out. I'm stuck with the crap of a VGLI because of a surgery they did to me back in 2003, 21 years ago. Here I am still walking around breathing and doing okay. I could be doing better, but that's my own doing, right? And I can't get insured. But you have people that can do that and change the path of their family, leaving something behind. If I think, and I like to think that if my parents knew this opportunity was there when I was born, or when even my sister was born, my younger sister, then they could have changed the path for everything else. So when do we start making that change? When do we stop being institutionalized in the thought process that we have and we start making things different, start making better choices, break the bonds? And then the thing about it that kills me is we don't even listen to our own people. And I can't say that that's everybody, right? Or every culture, because I'm going to talk about support in another episode or community supporting each other in another episode. This episode is mostly talking about institutionalization and how the mind works and how we are programmed for certain things. And unless we decide to break those barriers down, we're never going to be better than what we were, or we're never going to get to a certain level. Right. And then how can we change it to our children? How can we make our children see something different if what they see us doing is not trying to be better or trying to change, or we stay programmed? One thing my wife and I, and really more credit to her than me, is her mindset of certain things is always pushed onto the kids. So my son and my daughter, they see it and they say, okay, hey, mom is always talking about doing different things. Dad is doing this business. Mom is always finding a way to better herself educational wise and do certain things. And they see that there's more than one hustle to be made. Those days of one hustle and you expect to get far is not there. And sometimes I've recorded this in the past. It's not what you need. It's not what you want. It's what you need. Right. Sometimes you got to pivot like the podcast and find a different route to be successful. Because sometimes the route that we want to go isn't the route that we need to go, which is going back to the institutionalization of mindset, right? The practice and custom established already. Sometimes us going that path doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to go to school and get a degree and then go work for a company for the next 30 years. Don't have a pension, put your money to a 401k that loses in the market. And if you're not tracking it and you're not managing it, you could lose more than what you can make. And, to retire and then hopefully have enough saved up to be able to travel and live comfortable. If you look at some of these young people today, they're breaking that. They're not even going to college. They're getting certifications. Some of them are saying, you know what, I'm gonna invest in myself. One of my business partners that is one of my mentors in this business, he's 36 years old, gonna be 37, doing this since he was 18 years old, and took a chance on himself. Stopped practicing for the martial arts Olympics for his country, stopped, didn't go to school. Parents had ideas, he did his own thing, and now here you are 18 years later, you're making over 1.7 million a year. You have helped several families, and he broke that curse. He broke that chain. He broke that mindset, that established custom and practice, and did his own thing. He did it his way. And now he has set up the future that when he finally has a child or a wife, their kid are set up because he has the mindset and changed it. We have to break away from the institutionalization that we have in our mind, or the thought process, or the customs that will put us, or the comfortableness, and say, okay, what else is out there? Doing this business, I've learned so much, and I've it bothers me. It does. It really bothers me that people don't take advantage of certain things. They don't want to put the importance where it matters. Um, I've had people tell me, F those kids, they got to figure it out like I do. Um, I'm not leaving nothing behind. And I'm like, damn, man, that's how are we supposed to get ahead? Everybody wants to talk about these families with wealth, and they don't see what those families did. The importance of putting that money aside. And then, it's crazy what they say. Insanity's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, but getting the same one, something like that. Maybe I should look that definition up too. But the point is that clearly other people have done it and made it successful. Why don't you try that way? Why don't you try that way? At one point I was putting 10% of my base pay into my TSP. And even when money was tight, 10% was going in there. Even when, I probably could have used that 10% for something else, I was putting it in until I knew better. Until I knew better. Then when I knew better, I stopped and let that money just grow for itself. Um, I don't, again, I don't pretend to know it all. But my advice, my unsolicited advice today is we got to break the institutionalization, the mindset that we have, the practice and customs, and do something different. Step outside the box and believe that we could be more than what we have right now and that we could do better and stop tearing each other down, but help each other grow. Help each other grow. And in my next episode, I will talk about support. And, when I say what I say, I hope people don't get offended, but it's true. At the end of the day, we have a mindset, and and if I'm not reaching certain people, then maybe it doesn't pertain to you. But the mindset is there, the practice and customs in there. We come from areas where we're told certain things that we can't be better, that we can't do this, that we're not supposed to, that we're supposed to go work for 30, 40 years and die working, that we're never going to be rich or have certain things, or we're never going to accomplish certain things. And we leave that in our minds. And the ones that break out of that become successful and leave, but the ones that don't stay stuck in it. They stay stuck in it and they never break it. And what happens is they pass it down to their children and their children's children, unless one of them decides to say, you know what, I'm going to take the blinders off and I'm going to see the bigger picture. I'm going to see the world for what it is. And I'm going to take opportunities and advancements and I'm going to use what I can to get where I need to be. Gotta break that mindset. When I joined the Navy in 97, it wasn't I'm the only one out of my immediate friends that joined the military. Then somebody else joined down the line, went to the Marines. But other than that, out of the immediate, I was the only one that did it. And if I would have stayed in the mindset of, yo, I'm just a Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx, from the South Bronx, I'm gonna go to school. I had a kid at 17. I had a kid at 17. I was in high school when my first child was born. And if I would have stayed stuck on that mindset, I would have never been where I'm at today. I would have never met my wife. I would have never had the two kids I have with my wife. I would have never did 26 years in the Navy. I would have never traveled the world like I did. And I would never have been part of this World Finance Group like I am right now. God knows where I would have been at. But I didn't stay institutionalized in that one mindset. But guess what I did do? I joined the Navy and then I stuck in that mindset of the military. I never branched out. I never talked to the right people to find out information and find out certain things that I could have did better financially for myself to set my family up better. So I'm admitting it. And once I broke that, I wanted to teach it to everybody. So the more of the story and my advice to you today, and just to give you something quick to, dip my toes back into the podcast game, is we got to break the curse of institutionalization, the mindset of it. We got to break a part of that and we got to get as much education and information as we have out there, because without that, we're not going to progress as people, as a community. We're not going to change the future of our families and we're going to be stuck. And sometimes getting the advice of people outside of our communities is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because somebody out there figured it out. Somebody out there knows the answer. We just got to go out there and get it. So this is Frank's unsolicited advice. This episode is break the institutionalization or break the institutionalized mindset that we have. Thank you for listening to Frank's unsolicited advice.